So you guys talk about film all the time, and I realize the podcast is about dance film, but all of you have your own favorite film.
Yeah.
And I'd like to know what your guys' favorite film is. You don't need to necessarily explain why if you don't want to, but I just wanted to know. It's always good.
I got mine.
All right, go for it, Jen.
It's not the most lofty of films, but your favorite film isn't always. I have to say, one of my favorite films, and I recently remember this because you mentioned this actor a couple weeks ago, is School of Rock. Because that is Jack Black at his best.
Great film.
That film was,
Great film.
It's Richard Linklater. He does youth movies so well and like period pieces. And that is like a timeless, but like came out when I was in 7th grade. So that's a formative experience. Nice. And I actually directed a musical to it last year at this school. I mean, the kids were complete brats, but I never say that about anyone I teach, but at this school they were. Yeah. Anyways, but School of Rock is still my favorite movie.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
What about you, Hannah?
Well, I have a couple favorites, but I'm gonna say Chungking Express by Wong Kar-wai.
Yes. I say School of Rock and you come in with the art film.
Yeah.
When I was in graduate school, I fell in love with Chinese and Japanese filmmaking. I love everything that Wong Kar-wai has done. I'm not a big fan of The Grandmaster, which is a very popular one.
I've seen that.
I love that style of work where, it has kind of like the stop frame and the long time lapses, and it's got a very like late 90s, early 2000s aesthetic with the green lighting and all of the metaphors involved in it. And it was just May 1st, which is the expiration date. That because the whole movie is about expiration, and I really like.
What was it called again?
Chungking Express.
Chungking Express.
Wong Kar-wai.
I'm gonna look that one up. It sounds.
If you have HBO Max, you can watch In the Mood for Love, which is another one of his works.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And used to be really rare. Like it was a big deal when that became available.
Yeah.
Okay.
In North America on streaming services.
So I would definitely take a look at his works. And I also love Peeping Tom, which
oh yes.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah.
Like the old kinetoscope film.
Dan has heard of that because of
from
the Daily Rec.
over 100 years ago, or is there a newer film?
Yeah. I said Peeping Tom.
You said Peeping Tom.
If you haven't watched it, you should go ahead and watch it.
I need to follow your Daily Rec. Speaking of,
Everyone
go watch the Daily Rec. Listen to the Daily Rec. What about you, Claire?
Well, I mean, first of all, I'm just noticing the little film that this shadow is making. Like my Zoom light is making like this little rectangle on my head because of the sunset and like the little like squiggly.
It's amazing.
So,
Pretty cool.
This is my favorite film. No, honestly, there are two films that I came in contact with last year and have both just kind of been in my head ever since. One of them is Robert Wise's The Haunting. So for those of you who don't know, Robert Wise was also the director of West Side Story. And The Haunting is just this
kind of a big deal.
Yeah. So The Haunting is just this very tense, like very psychological thriller that is, I mean, everything that West Side Story was, like The Haunting is the complete opposite of, but it's
Great
just
movie.
so terrifying on such, it's terrifying without showing much, which is, to me, was one of the best films. And then the other film, which is a film that's very deep in my heart, it actually was the last film I saw before the pandemic, and the film I think I've seen maybe 5 times since, and that is Celine Sciamma's Portrait of a Lady on Fire. And if you want a perfect isolation film,
nice.
That is the film.
Awesome.
Also, The Tribe, Ukrainian film.
Yes!
So good.
Oh, I love The Tribe.
It's like the
Oh
best.
my God.
Well, thank you guys so much for like talking with us and making awesome content for Rixie.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to this on the day it comes out, if I'm not mistaken, episode 1 of season 2 has premiered. So go over to Frameform their RSS feed, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name it. It's going to be on that podcast player. Or if you'd like
the
to
audio
stay,
should be on our YouTube.
If you want to stay on YouTube, it will also be here in audio form. But we just want to thank you guys so much for coming and talking to us, and we're excited for season 2 to roll out.